Of course, we are here because of the Schmeichel documentary. When did the idea of the film first come to mind, and what do you think of the final result?
This is not my idea, and it's not even my project. But 3 years ago, I brought a book out, and off the back of that book, came a lot of interest from producers and production companies about making that into a documentary, a film. And initially, I said no. I wasn't too keen on it because the book was very special to me. There was an idea about or behind making the book. And for me, you know, everything I wanted from that was there. So, but the Silver production came with a really good project. And because there was so much talk about it, I kind of found myself in a frame of mind that, okay, we have all this interest, then maybe we should. And I really liked the way that they were thinking about it. And so I said yes, and I think this is important. I gave them the project. I didn't want to be interfering. I have no input in whatever. It's all they're doing, so that there is a documentary about Peter Schmeichellel out there that has been made by other people and not myself. And in that way, I feel it's more real.
Many people say you are the greatest goalkeeper of all time, which is no surprise as a European champion, Champions League winner, member of the Premier League Hall of Fame. What do you think about that, and where would you put yourself in all-time rankings?
Yeah, I'm not going to put myself in no rankings, but no, it's really nice to be talked about in that respect. It's really nice to be, you know, acknowledged and be in the Hall of Fame. I never set out to do anything individually. I always knew that I could be the best in the world and play in the worst team, and it would mean nothing. I could be the worst in the world and play in the best team, and it would mean everything. So I always respected the whole idea about the team and the teamwork, and so I never really put any emphasis into getting individual awards. But of course, I got individual awards, and I was very proud and very pleased. And it's only, you know, in later life you really appreciate that, because when you're playing, the only thing you think about is the next game, seriously. And you know, you're never better than the game you just played. You have to go out there and do it again and do it again. And if you find yourself in a frame of mind where you go, oh, I won this individual prize, I'm so good, and you go out and you mess up in the next game, where is the value of that, you know? So when you get away from it and you kind of look back, it's when you really appreciate what other people have thought about your performances and the way that you played. And is legacy important? Yes, sometimes I think it is. Legacy, what you want your legacy to, I want to have left something with football, something that other goalkeepers are doing. And I can see little bits of pieces from the game today, and I'm thinking I probably started that, and I'm quite proud of that.
I'm Hungarian, and there is a myth in Hungary, a legend in Hungary, that the 1992 Danish national team won the European Championship by being called up from the beach. You mentioned that in the documentary, but did the team really only have few days to prepare after Yugoslavs were excluded?
Yes, that's the truth. But it's a truth of modifications, because when we were in, now you are playing, it was only 5 days until the first game. But at the time, we were already preparing for SNG, so Russia's last game before they went to Sweden. So we were playing that. So we were not in camp, but we were reporting to training every morning to play this game. So in a way, definitely we were not on the beaches. But certain players, and that's the truth, certain players had booked holidays and said, oh, we can't go because we've got a holiday, you know. So they didn't go to Sweden. And these players, of course, never played for Denmark again. But, so, you know, there is a little bit about it, but yeah, it came very late, very, very late.
What do you consider to be the greatest achievement, successful in your career? The Champions League title or the European Championship trophy? Or anything else?
No, I got to be consistent. My answer to that question, which have been answered or been asked before, is when Kasper won the Premier League. That is my biggest achievement. That is the biggest moment for me in football. It is. I stood on the pitch and I watched that. It cannot get any better.
One question about Kasper. Do you think you and Kasper, your son, are the best father and son player duo in football history? Cesare and Paolo Maldini are strong candidates, but after that it seems to be pretty obvious.
Yeah, again, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. What really matters is that Kasper made a choice. I always said this to both my kids. You know, whatever you choose to do, choose something you want to do. It has to be something you feel here, and then do it right. Be 100% in it. Kasper said, "I'm going to give football a chance," and I said the same thing. Okay, fine, and I will support you. And I mean, I think he's done fantastically well, and he is in world football today. He's my favorite goalkeeper. Of course, he is.
Your career lasted more than 20 years, and it's clear your best memories at Manchester United. You love the club, you wanted to play there since you were 9 years old, but what do you think about the period after Sir Alex Ferguson left in 2013?
Yeah, do you know, history tells you a lot. So you only have to look at history and see what happens when you know, big influential people leave, whatever it is, a football club, a company. It's really, really difficult to keep it going, because if you think about him, if you think about Sir Alex, so when I arrived, we were at the Cliff training ground. There was one pitch. There was one guy in the dressing room. There was one coach for our team. There's one coach for the reserves. There's one coach for the under-19 and one coach for the under-17. That was it. A goalkeeper coach coming in every Monday. There's 2 people in the canteen, and there were a physio and a masseur. That was it. That was the total of Manchester United at the time. I think when he left, he had more than 200 staff that he was the boss of. And then, of course, all the footballers. So you develop the club day by day. You don't see the big developments because it's smooth. It goes like this. Then he stops. Somebody else comes in. He now has to control 200 people, plus all the players, and plus all, you know, the 17 pitches, however many they have, the academy. All of that, it's nearly an impossible job. I would have wished that at the time they thought about a transitional period where you say, okay, he's thinking about retiring, and let's say he retires in 3 years. Now we're going to bring the next generation in, like you do with footballers. You know, bring somebody young in who can take over after him, you know, learn the ropes, do you know, and then you have a smooth transition. We didn't. We went like that. No. And then somebody comes in, new idea. I mean, never worked in a club that was so big. And I think today we see the result of that, and it's really sad. It is. Obviously, in the last 12 months, really big changes to the club. New ownership, or new people running the club. There was a lot of things that over the last 10 years needed to be done but hadn't been done. They're now doing that. And of course, on the coaching front, there's a new coach as well. So I feel good about the future. I feel that the right coach is there. He has the right ideas. He's very good at communicating. He makes me believe in him. I'm a fan. I'm listening to him. I believe in him. I'm behind him. I support him. And then Ineos, who has come in, they've made an incredible amount of hard choices, and they've done it. It's done now, and the club can now move in another direction, more modern structure, more modern way of dealing with it. And also, they spend a lot of time on getting permission to build a new stadium. So, club is moving in a better direction, but it's going to take time, and it's tough to be a Man United supporter at the moment. It is.
Okay, I am Hungarian, so I have to ask that you played your first not Olympic qualifier international game against Hungary in 1988, October. Do you remember that match? Oh, yeah. Do you remember the score?
I think 2-2.
Yeah, it was 2-2.
But it wasn't Olympic. It was
no, it was the first
stadium.
international which is not an Olympic qualifier. Yeah, it was a friendly.
We were preparing for the European Championships in Germany. That was my first international against Hungary, but it was also my last. I don't know. We never got joined against them. But I also won my first club European game away from home against Hungarian team, Ferencváros. The game before had a lot of crowd problems, so UEFA banned them from having a crowd, so we played in an empty stadium. And you know that behind, the waterway behind, all the Ferencváros supporters were on that, so we could still hear them, but the stadium was empty. And we won 1-0. So I remember that. But I also, in lockdown, I was obviously in Budapest, because you played games. Teams were coming there to play games. So, and it's, I mean, what a beautiful city. It is a beautiful city.
It is.
It is.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.